Hi Taurus, it's Rebecca from Being Human Tarot. Happy birthday to many of you, because I know that you start having your birthdays in April. I'm here with your April reading for 2019, and I'm reading with the Smith-Rider-Waite, going back to basics this month. And I'm just going to jump into your reading rather than talk too much at the beginning so that you won't be bogged down by that. So I do a 3-card spread, and in your first position of what your focus will be this month, you drew the 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands is one of those more bizarre cards that doesn't have a human in them. The aces don't really have humans either, but they have, like the hand of a human. So they're a little bit harder to get a read on, but the eight of Wands is basically things happening really fast. We have these 8 wands whooshing through the air. In particular, creative things. So if you have some kind of project or otherwise creative thing going on this month, know that it will be very fast-paced, and the month in general might be very fast-paced, which, Taurus, you're an earth sign, you're the bull. I know that, that's not your fave, but, you're just gonna have to roll with it, and it's not, just remind yourself that it's not permanent, it's a temporary thing. Sometimes things just happen quickly and we just have to, there's nothing we can do about it. So but I think it's going to be enjoyable happening quickly. It is the wand suit, right? So if there were if there were 8 swords flying through the sky and you had to deal with a bunch of mental brain chemistry stuff happening quickly, that would scare me a lot more than wands happening quickly. So don't freak out, but just prepared for a quicker paced month this month. In your position of what to set aside, you drew, okay, so I actually hadn't thought about it when I just made that comparison with the 8 of Swords, but you drew the 8 of Swords. But really what I was saying was, as if the swords were flying through the sky. So I wasn't saying if you drew the 8 of Swords, which you clearly did. But the set aside is, you want to set aside any inclination you have this month to be a martyr or represent yourself as such. Because this person, is surrounded by swords and is bound. So she could very easily cut off that binding with any of the swords, and the swords aren't completely surrounding her. She has a clear path out as well. So if you've been in your head a little bit this month in terms of woe is me, feeling a little bit sorry for yourself, feeling like you're stuck in a situation, really take a look at that situation and make sure you're not overlooking some facts in it. And you're an earth sign, I feel like that's going to resonate with you. You'll be able to do that, no problem. Sorry, there's a little bit of background noise. My parrot is eating. But so you want to set those inclinations aside. We all have them. It's totally human. And it could even be related to maybe the things that are happening so quickly this month. Maybe your first thought is, for something that didn't turn out well, is to be well, things were just happening too quickly. I had no time to do it. Which actually, that can be a very legit reason for something, but you get what I mean. It's kind of take responsibility. It's well, in that example, did you try to set a barrier? Did you explain to whomever was asking for this task that You can do it within that amount of time, but it's not going to probably be the quality that they would like. And if they want it to be, you know, up to snuff, they're going to have to wait a little bit longer or something like that. I mean, it's just like one example of a million different things, but it's kind of like, don't disconnect yourself from your own personal power in your life. And in your card of additional consideration, you drew the King of Wands reversed. And so, because you have the wands happening fast as your focus, and I think that you might be feeling a little bit of, with the King of Wands in reverse, I think you might be feeling a little bit of pressure to sort of be who the King of Wands is upright, but you're just not feeling like you can live up to that expectation for, you know, whomever it is expecting it. So, and that's fine. That's totally fine. You don't have to be the King of Wands, Taurus. You totally don't. You have to be your Taurus self, and you know, that's totally enough and wonderful. It's more than enough. And what I mean by, sorry, I didn't explain that well. What I mean by being the king, feeling pressure to be the King of Wands, that means being sort of like this very charismatic, outgoing, socialite person who's like, going to all the parties and very easily talking to people and things like that. Because again, it's just, the two are have to be very connected with this wands happening quickly. So just give yourself some slack. I know that I was like, take personal accountability for things you can change. But when it comes to the King of Wands reversed, it's almost like you're putting too much pressure on yourself and setting this expectation to be someone who you're not. And it's all good for us to work on our stuff and work on weaknesses we have. If we feel like working on that would enhance our lives or something along those lines, but we don't have to change, we don't have to inherently change who we are. And so don't feel pressure to do that, whether it's internal or external pressure. Who you are is more than enough, and you do not have to be the King of Wands. And being the King of Wands is exhausting. I think sometimes the King of Wands doesn't like being the King of Wands and just wants to stay home and Netflix and chill. So that's your reading for April, Taurus. If your birthday drops in April, I hope you have a wonderful birthday. If you liked the reading, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. If you hit the bell icon next to, or it's, I don't know if it's next to subscribe anymore, but if you hit the bell icon after subscribing, you'll be automatically notified as soon as I upload this suite of videos, which I do each month before the 1st. And that's it. I hope you have a wonderful April. Be gentle with yourself, and I hope to see you next month in May. Bye, Taurus.